Nikola Jokic will not win the MVP. It will be Joel Embiid. Jokic was a huge favorite to win his third straight, but then Kendrick Perkins called out the media. He said, last 20-plus years, 3 guys have won, not top 10 in scoring. Steve Nash, Dirk Nowitzki, and Jokic.
What do those guys have in common? I'll let it sit there and marinate. You think about it.
Well, they're all white, obviously. He then said most voters are white and stopped just short of calling them racist. And when Perk made that statement, Jokic was favored at minus 278. For Embiid, you'd have to bet just $100 to win $500. Now, Embiid jumped so much, you'd have to bet $227 just to win $100. Jokic is now the underdog. So did the voters get caught and don't want to look racist? MVP voting is not anonymous. We can all see who voted for Jokic. Twitter will let them know you are racist for not picking Embiid. No, they are not afraid. Since Perk called out the voters, the Nuggets have just been awful. They are just 2-4 and could potentially lose the #1 seed. During that streak, they are dead last in defense, and the #1 culprit is the Joker. Defense has been conveniently ignored because his offense is so amazing, but the Nuggets have a huge Nikola Jokic problem. Over this horrible stretch, they have lost to teams like the Spurs and the Raptors and the Bulls and the Nets, and in the middle of it all is the back-to-back MVP. Teams have been going at him over and over, exposing how bad a defender he actually is. Jokic barely even tries against Scotty Barnes. Chris Boucher catches him sleeping at the rim. The horrible Spurs shot 19 of 32 against Jokic in a win. People are going to say, oh, this is just hating on Jokic. It's not hating, it's just the fact.
Just the fact.
But it's worse when you compare it to the defense of Giannis and Joel Embiid. The last 42 champions all were top 10 in defense. I'm not going to list all 42, you get the point. But there were 3 exceptions. The 95 Rockets, who were the lowest seed to ever win. The 01 Lakers and 18 Dubs all jumped to #1 in the playoffs. The ultimate flip switch teams. Everyone else is at least top 10. This year, Denver is 16th. As long as Jokic is the Nuggets' best player, they may never win a ring. And that says a lot about his back-to-back MVPs. Look at those MVP seasons. In 2021, when they were swept by the Suns, Jokic had a plus-minus of -10 or worse in every game. Last year, his numbers were abysmal, including 2 of his top 5 worst games of the season. It was embarrassing to see the Warriors picking on Jokic over and over. You could say, oh, but he had to carry his teams. Yeah, that's the same with other MVPs like Giannis. The Nuggets have by far the most pressure to win in the West. If they have another early exit, Jokic will get crushed as a regular season player. We all knew the criticism was coming. It's finally here. But it's not all his fault. In 2021, he was missing Jamal Murray, who tore his ACL. Last season, his starters against the Warriors, Jeff Green, Aaron Gordon, Monte Morris, and Will Barton. Who is going to win with that roster? But this year, everyone is healthy, including Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr., so there is no excuse. When they lose, Jokic will get the label as a loser and a one-way star. It is the worst label to have as a great player. Nick Wright got clowned when he said Jokic was overrated.
And I know Nuggets fans are going to get mad at me. If Nikola Jokic wins the MVP, he's the worst player to win the MVP since Dave Cowan.
No.
Well, he's about to look like a genius. Jokic is the most talented offensive player alive. He is a guy when it comes to passing at his size. But we act like defense isn't that big of a deal. It actually is. The front office has a lot of work to do, and it means that they will trade one of Joker's star teammates. I'll get to who that is in a bit. Right now, he has 3 good defenders around him: Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, Aaron Gordon, and Bruce Brown. In their most used lineup, only 2 of them are on the floor, KCP and Gordon. In that scenario, the other team is constantly attacking either Jokic or Michael Porter. On this play, all it takes is a simple screen, and Peyton Pritchard sheds MPJ for the jumper. On Christmas Day, CP3 disrespected both of them. Late in the game, he gets the screen to switch on MPJ, but he sees a better matchup, so he calls for Nikola Jokic. CP gets a great look off. He misses, but that shows how easy Denver is to attack. In the playoffs, I could see them in a big moment benching MPJ for Bruce Brown. It'll happen late in big games, and that will create major friction. I predict Michael Porter Jr. will be traded. At this point, he is overkill on their roster. He's just not necessary. What they need is another plus wing defender. The beauty of the Warriors is everyone around Steph is great. Andrew Wiggins, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Kevon Looney. The other team can't easily exploit that defense. The number one target for Denver when they trade MPJ should be Alex Caruso. He is better than any defender they currently have, and the Bulls might be looking to rebuild anyway. Another target for Denver? Draymond Green himself. That would be the slam dunk A+ addition. Dude can be a free agent, and if he's going to walk for nothing anyway, the Nuggets could swoop in with a sign and trade. But the Steph comparison here is not perfect. Having bad defense at center is especially tough to overcome. You know the best teams are going to target him in the pick and roll. If you remember last year, the Warriors bullied Jokic once the playoffs started like we did not see in the regular season. But what makes no sense is why the playoffs are any different. I mean, you could look at the 1 seed and say, Denver's winning right now. Why would they lose in the postseason? The best comparison is Ben Simmons. People forget this man was a star. He won Rookie of the Year and then was an All-Star 3 straight seasons. But in the playoffs, there was a problem. His weakness was shooting. Opponents exploited that, and it killed the Sixers' chances. This man put up Magic Johnson numbers in the regular season, but became Mickey Johnson in the playoffs. Some random 80s player, look him up. Coaches don't like to show their entire plan in the regular season and play different in the postseason. Also, you're playing the same team every night, so scouting becomes more important. If a star player has a weakness, it gets exploited. If the Nuggets don't fix this, it will cap whatever they can do. They will continue to have a Nikola Jokic problem. But who could take over the number 1 seed in the West?